What's up, guys? Roach here with Pro Play Games, and we have a top 16 deck profile. What's your name and what did you play?
I'm Ruben and I played Pendulum Magicians.
Why did you play Pendulum Magicians?
Kamal said it was the best deck.
Alright, well I would trust Kamal too. Alright, let's get into the list.
So I played 3 Joker because it searches everything in your deck except for Astrograph Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Best card to open by far.
What does this one do?
3 Double Iris. It's a high scale. It has 2 really relevant effects. When it's destroyed, you get to search your deck for a Pendulum Graph card, the Spell or the Trap, which you'll see later. And when it's in the scale, you can destroy it to make a Dark Spellcaster monster, inflict double battle damage this turn.
Oh, that's really good. So you got out like Masterpiece with that card. Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
You use that. This is another way to out Masterpiece. You played triple purple poison. It's the 1 scale of the deck. It's also they're all Spellcasters Darks except for a couple of them. This effect is when it's destroyed, it gets to destroy another face-up card on the field. And then when it's in a scale, you get to destroy it to give a Dark Spellcaster 1200 attack.
Oh yeah, so you can just run over a Masterpiece.
Yeah,
then.
you could use it in the damage step. If they don't know what's going on, they get really confused and you just out it. 3 Wisdom Eye, best card to have with any other scale. It literally fixes your scales. It's really good. The only time it's kind of bad is if your opponent has a Wavering Eyes against you for the mirror match or just a way to disrupt it. But besides that, it gets the job done. Then for the 1-ofs, you play 1 Oath Dragon to get your scales back since Master Rule 4 kind of messes up the deck a little bit. You play 1 Black Fang.
What does Black Fang do?
It's another name. When it's in the scale, you can activate its effect to destroy it to half a monster's attack. And it's till the end of the turn. And when this card is destroyed, you can special summon a Dark Spellcaster from your graveyard. So
that's broken.
Yeah,
so, like,
it keeps you in the game.
Right. So like it floats. All right, that's cool.
Yeah. So then I play 1 White Wing Magician. It's a pretty odd pick. I decided to throw it in last second because it was another tuner low scale, which the deck really has an issue with. It opens a lot of high scales and the low scales are kind of hard to search. And there's a combo with it that you could bring it out with the 2 Harmonizing Magicians you play. So you can make either double Omega or Omega plus Time Star Magician or Omega plus any rank 4, which is really strong, especially because you get to see what your opponent's playing before you decide what rank 4 to make. This card's really good. A lot of people told me to play it at 3, but I just didn't want to see multiples because it's not very good. The 1 or 2 times you use it, its effect's really solid. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And I played triple Astrograph Sorcerer.
Alright, so what does this guy do? I know this guy is like the most broken card in the deck.
Busted. So opening this card literally says you will not lose the game that turn. So
what does it do?
Whenever a card you control is destroyed, you can activate its effect to special summon it, and then target 1 card in your face up in your extra deck, in your graveyard, or that's banished that was destroyed this turn, and a copy of that card from your deck to your hand.
Is that once per turn or no?
It's not once per turn.
Oh
so
my God,
if you have triple in hand, you can activate 1, 2, and 3, and since it's if, it won't miss timing.
That's crazy.
So you can just special summon out, and it's a big beater, and it's another low scale, which helps.
Isn't there
out the
a
deck.
combo Wavering Eyes? Like you can Wavering Eyes your scales, and if you have
Wavering Eyes your
you
scales, and then Astrograph, and then you special summon Astrograph because it's already in your hand when it resolves, and that lets you search any of the scales you popped or anything else that was destroyed that turn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So then I played for the Perform Power Engine 2 Pendulum Sorcerer, 1 Good Turtle, 1 Lizard Draw.
How did you like that? I know a lot of people were like really iffy about it.
Yeah, this engine was kind of subpar. Kamal told me to play it. He said it was really good. It helps you get to the side deck cards. He was not wrong. I only resolved it once this weekend. I usually would side out one of the sorcerers because I thought there was many ways to search it with Joker, Duelist Alliance, cards like that. These cards were semi-relevant. The most I kind of used Lizard Draw was I normal summoned it with a Gofu to make an Ignister and then spin away my opponent's scales. And then, speaking of Gofu, I played 3 Gofu. It helps extend your plays and it gives you link monsters to play with. And the link monsters are very important because let's just say you have scales but you don't have anything in hand, you can Pendulum summon from the extra deck but only 1. But if you have a link monster, let's just special summon multiples and it just enables stupid combos. Like game 2 in the last round, I opened Mrs. Radiant with an Omega that banished a Time Star Magician, a Vermilion, and a defense position Black Fang Magician, which was a really solid opening, and that was all possible because of Gofu. Then I play triple Ash. I didn't want to play a hand trap because hand traps kind of suck in Pendulum decks, but I felt like you needed to just to combat the meta and the Draco decks that came up, which I only played 2 of, but they were so free. I 2'd both of them. I did have Max D in my deck. It was my 42nd card, but in the middle of round 11, I got a deck checked and I forgot to write it on my list, so couldn't play for it for the last round. Maybe that cost me the loss. 3 Wavering Eyes. Anyone that says you don't main 3 or you side all 3 is very incorrect. This card wins you the mirror match. You have to know how to play the card though. Since there's no more juggler, the safe times are to activate when your opponent has no set cards or when you're going first. Because all that can happen is if it gets Ash, and if it gets Ash, you get to activate Desires. Desires is really good in this deck. I don't care if I run 3. I don't care. Most of the cards in the deck are 3-ofs. There's only very niche 1-ofs, but you can search it if you really need it at that moment. So Desires just gets you there in a lot of times, and it just gives you the extra resource or the extra monster for the Pendulum summon.
Right.
I played 2 Duelist Alliance. Kamal told me to only play 1 because you don't want to brick with it. He was right.
Is it only once per turn?
Yeah, it's once per turn. So
yeah, I probably would have only played 1.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I never saw it in multiples. I always saw myself siding 1 out because I really didn't want to see multiples of the card, especially going second. A cool interaction I found out is that you can activate Duelist Alliance when only your opponent has scales and search through your deck, which is a really neat interaction.
Wait,
if you
really?
just top deck it. Yeah, it's something a lot of people don't really know. So
yeah, if there's a card in the Pendulum
yeah,
zone.
so I top decked it at one point, activated it, and then I was able to get what did I don't remember what I added. I added some card, and then I crashed my monster while I had the spell face up, and then I was able to search a Wisdom Eye, activate it in scale, and continue going. It was nuts. Then I played 1 Regeki. A lot of people didn't main board wipes. I thought if no one's going to be playing board wipes, no one's going to be expecting them, so it's really good. It helps OTKs. There was a lot of times when I went second, and it didn't matter because I just Regeki, summon Gofu, and then OTK my opponent. It was really good, especially with Gofu allowing you to get 2 to 3 link zones, depending on how you set it up. Then for the time pendulum graphs, I only played 1 star pendulum graph and 1 time pendulum graph.
What do these do for people that don't know?
So this star pendulum graph says whenever a face-up magician monster leaves the field, you get to search your deck for another magician pendulum monster. And then it's also effect, it's not too relevant, but your magician pendulums cannot be targeted by spell effects.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Then the trap card is the real MVP. You always want to search this off of Double Iris.
What does this do?
So it prevents your spellcasters to be targeted by trap effects, which helps a lot in the True Draco matchup. So you're fine popping the traps that they set. And then what it does is you can target 1 magician card you control, 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them. And if one of those targets was not destroyed, you can just send 1 card on the field to the graveyard non-targeting, which is really
wild.
good. Yeah. So
that's crazy as fuck.
My token, field center, but got in trouble for it, almost a game loss. My extra deck, 2 Link Spiders, you use it in Gofu in tandem with Mrs. Radiant. So what you do is you special summon the Gofu, use both tokens to make Link Spiders, then you make a Misses, and you keep the Gofu on board. It's either chum block, or you can use it to make other synchro plays depending on the rest of your hand. You play 1 proxy just in case you run through this engine already, and you draw another Gofu.
You can go like Mrs. Radiant, like right here.
Yeah, and then
so you have 3, and you have 3 extra deck zones.
So
I saw Kamal do that a lot.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of versatility. A lot of people started cutting Gofu and cutting the Link monsters, but it helps you in the grind game, and especially this card. This card's really good. People don't really understand how important zone placement is. A lot of people just place the card under their zone, and they don't know that you can hop zones, extra monster zones. So what I would do is I would top deck a Gofu, make a Decode Talker, and it's already at 28. Normal summon a monster, put it at 33, and then swing over, and then swing with my other monster, and that's usually enough damage for game in certain situations like that. It did save me once. I top decked Gofu in time, I think round 6, and then I was able to make a Decode Talker and swing. And it was my second to last turn, and then my opponent drew, and all he did was set 1. It was the mirror match, very simplified, but he should have won. He wavering eyes me for 4 earlier in the game.
Oh my god.
Then for the rank 4s, I played 1 Abyss Dweller. You need it for the True Draco matchup. It was kind of subpar. I only summoned it once, but it got there. 1 Tornado Dragon. It's really good. It helps you extend your combos, and it's really good when you summon it with Double Iris Magician, because you get to pop the Double Iris Magician in your scale and search the Pendulum graph you need. It's really good also in the mirror match. It puts a lot of pressure on the board. 1 Time Star Magician. This one, you need 2 Magician Pendulum monsters to summon it, so it's very specific, but at the same time it has a really good effect. Once per turn you can detach a material to add a Dark Spellcaster from your deck, face up in your extra deck, or your graveyard to your hand, which a lot of people didn't know. So when you run out of resources, you get to recycle them basically. And its second effect is once per turn when when Magician card or cards you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can send 1 spellcaster from your deck to your graveyard instead, which comes in clutch, especially when the trap card. So you do that, so you get to pop a card and send a card. So it helps a lot. Yeah. 1 Trapeze Magician. I didn't make it all weekend. It was just there for OTKs. It was just there for OTKs. It's a cute play, but there was times where I contemplated making it. Utopian Lightning. I wasn't going to play these. Kamal told me I should play it just for an extra out to Masterpiece, and he was right. It got me there in game sometimes. It stopped my opponent's Astrograph Sorcerer in my last round. I was able to push through for game. 1 Omega. Omega's really good. There's a lot of combos that end with Omega rank 4, and it's vital to see what your opponent has in their hand. 1 Ignister. The card wins the mirror match. People underestimate this card so much, they forget it even exists. 1 Beals for True Draco.
There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype around that card.
Yeah.
What does it do?
This card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. So usually in the True Draco matchup, if you don't have an out to Masterpiece, you just put it in defense position and your extra monster zone, and just wait until you draw an out, because that's really they can't out discard unless they have Stormforth or Skill Drain, and at that point they're just a sack or Geo. Then I played 1 Vermilion. This card always got there. Literally always got there. There was a bunch of people that had no clue what this did. So let's just say I went second and I ashed my opponent's card. I would activate I would special summon Gofu, make the misses play, then I would go into Vermilion, banishing the ash in my graveyard to pop a card. And then on my opponent's next turn, they'd have to get rid of it because it's a threat with the Gofu in the graveyard. So destroy it, and I get the banished ash back to my hand, and it just applies even more pressure to my opponent. Nobody really
cool.
Yeah, nobody really read through the card. They didn't really think it was important. They were just like, oh, it's just another level 9 synchro. Then for the side deck, I played 3 Denko. I played it over Zaphion because I thought that Paleo was going to be a deck and a lot of their cards can get rid of it. I only sided in a couple times. I tried it against the mirror. It worked well because no one likes to shotgun the trap, because let's just say you are playing Ghost Ogre, then the trap can get Ghost Ogred. So if you normal summon this in the mirror and then you start going off, it's kind of auto win because you most likely going to be able to OTK. I also summoned it versus my opponent in round 10. He went set 4, activate, demise. I ashed it, and then he passed. He flipped anti-spell in the standby phase, so I special summoned Goku, made a decode talker, then normal summoned Denko. He had no response, so I swung for, I think it was 45 that turn, and then the next turn he just passed, so I just killed him like that. He didn't really expect the card. I don't think a lot of people were expecting. I think it was really good. Then I played 3 Kaijus, 2 Kumungus, and a Gamma Seal. My theory behind this was Kumungus you can get back with Mrs. Radiant. Zoo wasn't the only deck that could make that play, and I was kind of scared of Masterpiece, but I realized this deck has no problem out yet. I played 3 Cosmic Cyclone, Unity versus Masterpiece, the mirror match. Really, basically anything. Going second, you always side in 3. Going first, I like to side in either 2 or 1, depending on the matchup. Then for the traps, I played 1 Warning, 2 Strike. It was basically just for True Draco. I didn't really need it for anything else, because I had a couple dead cards in the main deck versus True Draco. And then I played 3 Barrier as my last card. It helps in the Pendulum matchup. It helped versus the ABC matchup, but I got blown back by the ABC player, so this card didn't really do much. But that's pretty much it.
All right, you have any shout-outs? Anything else?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to a bunch of people that let me cards. Ferdella, Gio, there's Nikolai, Kamal, Ezekiel, there's a bunch of people, everyone from South Florida. Jacob for being in Top Cut right now. You know, he's hopefully brings home the belt back to South Florida. Bond right here. That's pro. Yeah, that and my team, CGM, we're trying to get out there, you know, trying to make things happen.
All right, man. I'm super proud of you. I know you just started playing. Super great performance. Hope to see more of you in the future. All right, peace out.